Hi, I'm Sylvie, and I am here to give you my review of LuLaRoe. In order to give you my review of LuLaRoe, I have to tell you my story because they're kind of a parallel. They're wrapped together. And so if you'll notice in my title, it said how Sylvie got her sparkle back. And in order to get your sparkle back, obviously you have to lose your sparkle at some point. And that is the story that I'm going to tell. But first I have to tell you some essential things about me. Number one, I love to tell a story. I don't necessarily love to tell a personal story, but I do love to tell a good story, and I love to laugh at myself. Number two, when telling those stories, sometimes I get off track, so I will do my best to stay on track as much as possible. Number three, essential things about me. I have two sons and they are my world. They are grown, they don't live with me. I am an empty nester, I'm 52. I have a full-time job as a wedding coordinator at a church, and I'm also the administrative assistant for the minister there. So before we get too far, somebody's probably saying, what is LuLaRoe? LuLaRoe's a clothing company. It's privately owned, and it's sold through independent retailers like me. So who is LuLaRoe for? LuLaRoe is for pretty much everybody. They make kids' clothes, women's clothes, men's clothes. The coolest thing for me is that for women's clothes, they go from size extra, extra small to 3X. Things I love in life. Coffee, cinnamon dolce latte from Starbucks is my world. I love some Gilmore Girls. I love a little bit of reality TV. I love clothes, hair, makeup, all the girly girl things. But I found over the years that my love of clothes declined. Well, my love of buying clothes, and I guess that's what I should say. And so now we're going to see, I've already gotten off track a little bit. We're going to go back and talk about me as a kid. This is a picture of me when I was about second grade. And you can see I was a little fashionista and I was rocking those white go-go boots. I was all that and I felt good about myself in that picture. Pictures of me young, I was totally fine to be in a picture, but I notice as time goes past, as I get older through pictures, I am less and less confident in pictures. I do not know what started to steal the sparkle, but I expect it's kind of like everyone when they're younger, middle school years, insecurities. I was super tall. I'm 6'1", super skinny, and kids are not kind, and so I think that stole some of my sparkle. But I was not able to help myself gain my sparkle back when I needed to. I was fashion model, thin and tall, but I was not confident enough to do that. In fact, I remember taking a modeling class and having that hearing that voice that I was not as good as other people and I didn't belong there. But I loved clothes just as much as everybody else. So I thought I would go into fashion. I studied fabric design. I ended up being a glass sculptor and a jewelry designer. I got married. I had my two sons. My life revolved around them. I became a single mom unexpectedly, and after 18 years of marriage, I found myself single and supporting a household, and that changed things a little. I went from being a full-time artist, I transitioned into going back into corporate world and ended up in the job that I have now, which I absolutely love. But it was not as artistic and I missed that part of things. Now back to the pictures. If I look back through pictures, I notice that I was in pictures probably after college. You do not see me in pictures very often unless a friend dragged me into a picture. Once I had kids, the pictures of me all include my kids. And usually they're like these two where I'm standing kind of back behind the kids. It was about the family and it wasn't about me. I still didn't have that confidence, that sparkle that I'd had as a kid when I was like, look at me, I'm rocking this. And if any of my friends would or customers now ever said they didn't rock something, I would be like, oh yes you do, but I could not quiet that inner voice. And I think some of that, as I got older, I gained weight like a lot of women after having kids, and when I went to shop for clothes, my size was in the back of the store in a tiny little corner with less selection, and less flattering choices. They were not clothes that were meant to be on my shape, and they were clothes that were just to get by. I had a lot of clothes to get by. And I know a lot of people right now are watching the Netflix special Marie Kondo about does this bring me joy and get rid of it if it doesn't. And so I did that. Back in the spring of 2016, I Marie Kondoed my wardrobe. So it's actually before that. So before spring of 2016, I Marie Kondoed when her book came out. And I was left with cashmere sweaters and 2 pairs of jeans that I could put up with, but cashmere sweaters were the only things that really brought me joy. And it wasn't because how I looked in them, it was how I felt. I loved the softness. So I kept my cashmere sweaters. I kept 2 pairs of blue jeans because I needed them. And I had a black pencil skirt and a gray pencil skirt. And cashmere sweaters and pencil skirts became my wardrobe. Then a friend invited me to a LuLaRoe pop-up party. And that invitation was the beginning of a huge change. Now, a LuLaRoe pop-up party is something on that can happen in person or online. Hers was online, and I had no idea what was going on. I wanted the little pencil skirt in the picture because I was like, ooh, I can have a patterned pencil skirt instead of the gray or the black one that I had. Couldn't figure out how to buy it. It was very confusing for me. This was the early days. Luckily now we have been given the opportunity to sell from our own websites, which will make it so much easier for customers who find us to find the things they need. I also learned that part of shopping LuLaRoe is shopping with a person actually like a personal stylist, the kind of thing that only people at Nordstrom and fancy stores get, where you walk in and that personal shopper knows you, knows what looks good on you, knows what's already in your wardrobe. And that's what I ended up finding was retailers with LuLaRoe that knew what I had in my closet and could help me. So next thing I know, I have gorgeous clothes that bring me joy. And I'm still working my regular job, and I'm downsizing to move into the city closer to my job. And when I'm moving, I realize I'm going to have a second job to afford to live in the city where it's a little more expensive. And someone who I was buying clothes from posted this on her page. And I started thinking, I wonder if I could do that. Could I sell LuLaRoe? I had worked retail in the past, but could I be what these people were for me? Stylists, help other people find things. Could I afford to go into the business? All of those questions. And now is a different time than it was 2 years ago. This was 2.5 years ago when I was asking those questions. But I decided to make that leap. I really knew I would regret it if I didn't. The hours I could choose to work on my own versus working retail at a shop someplace. And I thought if I make the same amount of money, I'll be very happy. And everyone has different levels of success based on the different levels of work that they put into it. But for part-time hours, I was super happy with what I was making at LuLaRoe. Oops, I got a little ahead of myself. I did go into business with LuLaRoe in the late summer, early fall of 2016. So I've been in business for about 2.5 years now. So, how'd I get my sparkle back? I can't give you a date that it happened or say this is exactly what happened. But I think in working with beautiful customers who didn't see their own sparkle, me helping them find their sparkle helped me to find my very own sparkle. And I look at the pictures that I have taken of myself in the past 2 years as a part of publicity for my business. That became at first very difficult for me to do, to take pictures of myself. And then it became fun. It became super fun to just be a ham in front of the camera, to try new things with outfits, to accessorize, to do all the things that I liked to do when I was little, the things I had thought I would do as an adult, thinking I was going to go into fashion. So one day I was looking at my life and I was thinking, When I was a teenager, what was my dream? My dream was to live in the city and own my own shop. And I thought, I do that. I have my dream. And how cool was that, that I have that? Plus, I have this incredibly rewarding, regular full time job where I get to make people's wedding dreams come true. So I am so blessed. And I know that a whole lot of that is because of LuLaRoe. If you have ever considered becoming a LuLaRoe retailer, I don't want you to think that it is super easy. It is not. It's a job like any other job, but it's a job that's way richer than any other job that I've ever had. I absolutely adore my customers. I adore my sister retailers. The relationships that I have been able to form with the retailers that are on my team and retailers that I've met across the country have been so rewarding. I cannot even tell you. That was such an unexpected bonus that I did not expect. And that is because of LuLaRoe. If you're not thinking of becoming a retailer, but you're thinking of trying the clothes, try them. I have never in my life until LuLaRoe had clothes that made me feel like I was playing paper dolls every day. I get to get up and make the most fun combinations from the LuLaRoe that's already in my closet. I have learned to mix and make pattern mix, which was not a thing for me. Even though I had studied fabric design, I had never thought of wearing clothes with mixed patterns. But it is so fun. And people stop me. They tell me how much they like my outfits. I enjoy what I do, and not once since I started wearing LuLaRoe have I ever asked myself when I look in the mirror, does this make me look fat? I am not saying that LuLaRoe has a magic eraser that erased my belly and my hips. What I am saying is that LuLaRoe has the magic of making me love my clothes and love myself. And then it doesn't matter whether I have a belly or hips because they are a part of the me that I love. My customers have asked me to share some of their stories with you, to tell you why I'm their fashion fairy godmother. So my review of LuLaRoe also includes their review of me because to them, I'm LuLaRoe. And I am LuLaRoe. So I want to share their stories of their experience with the Sparkle Squad. That's the name of my group. I'm their fashion fairy godmother. In the same way that Cinderella got a little magic wand of sparkle from her fairy godmother, I do that for my customers. I help them find their inner beauty that they've had all along so that they can feel fantastic walking into whatever ball or boardroom or grocery store that they have to go to that day. I want them to all know how absolutely beautiful they are. It's not the clothes, it's them, but the clothes make them feel that special. I cannot tell you what kind of magic LuLaRoe puts into their clothes, but there's something. And I think the biggest magic is just that it's available and it's comfortable and it's beautiful for all people. So thank you, LuLaRoe. It's because of you that I found my sparkle again. I'd like you to meet some of the lovely women in my Sparkle Squad. They're really kind of the most beautiful women in the whole universe, if you ask me. And I have some reviews from some of them to share with you. The first is from my friend Melanie, who says, I love my LuLaRoe. I'm a bead artist recently sidelined by spinal cord injury and a rare disorder which causes continuous movement called dystonia. This can make dressing difficult and clothing uncomfortable. So clothing choices are often made based on form and function, which can be boring and frumpy. But LuLaRoe saves the day with softness and comfort while satisfying this artist's desire for color, pattern, and most of all, style. And Melanie makes beautiful jewelry that goes back with all of her gorgeous LuLaRoe outfits that she puts together. I also have a super moving message from one of my customers, Ruth, to share with you. Ruth says, and I'm going to try not to cry, and I'll do my best. My LuLaRoe story. I was shopping plus size websites, sometimes stores, where the clothes had no style and were all polyesters. They would arrive in the mail and I would be so excited until I opened the packages and tried them on. Inevitably, they weren't a good cut and did not have any pizzazz. And Ruth has pizzazz. That's from me. Frankly, they were ugly. I paid a lot to have ugly clothes. Then my friend Betsy hosted a live sale with the sparkly fashion fairy godmother Sylvie. If my friends were enthusiastic in buying beautiful things, I didn't want to be left out. Unsure of the sizing, I bought a 3X Perfect tee with a fun print of donuts with icing and sprinkles. I received my package and haven't stopped shopping LuLaRoe. That perfect was my gateway drug. Next it was leggings, then more perfects, then a Sarah. Oh my. Shortly thereafter, I experienced a personal trauma and fled to New Mexico. Of course, LuLaRoe came with me. In recovering, I failed to eat and over a short time lost over 40 pounds. And guess what? My Lula still look good on me, maybe even better. When your consultant tells you to shop the print and not the size, she's giving you good advice. I can testify. I enjoy the live sales and interacting with ladies who become friends. I love shopping albums and perusing what's on offer. And I know when I'm looking for something in particular, I can ask my consultant, who is now a friend, to find it for me, and if she can't find the exact thing, she'll probably find something even better. When I had only a little money and was searching for a job, my fashion fairy godmother sent me outfits to wear on job interviews, and I landed a job while wearing my Lula. I now have a wonderful wardrobe of LuLaRoe clothing and have discovered that I can easily mix and match many of the pieces, so my outfits are always fresh. My favorite winter outfits are leggings with a Carly and a Sarah. Summer, it's perfect tees and leggings, maybe with a Joy or Lindsay, depending on the temperature. But I love, love, love the leggings. This newest round of fun prints delight and entertain me, thus delighting and entertaining others. LuLaRoe is more than just clothing, it's community, and I'm both blessed and happy to be a part of it. I am so happy to have all these fantastic women as a part of my community, and I hope you'll join us. Hello. I don't know who I am. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Between the Racks. I'm hard-hitting journalist Ivana Mimi, and I am here to ask the in-depth questions of LuLaRoe. Good evening, and welcome to another exciting episode of Between the Racks, where we speak to America and the world about their top retailers. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Fresh Hair. I'm hard-hitting journalist Ivana Mimi, and I'm here in this week's episode of Between the Racks to interview LuLaRoe retailer Sylvie Elise Lansdowne. We're here to find out about her sparkle, how she lost it, how she found it, the whole story. Stay tuned. I'll ask the questions you're afraid to ask or didn't even know were questions that anyone should ask. I'm really not sure what questions we will ask, but there will be questions and I will be the ones asking them, so stay tuned.